Hey guys, welcome to my Monday Morning Leadership. This is Brad Krantz. Thanks for joining me. Today I share a personal finance checklist. Remember last week I covered what is financial literacy and why is it important? And I kind of really looked from the macro level and sharing some of my journey as I discovered and learned more about and applied financial literacy. So today I kind of wanted to bookend that on a micro level, and I wanted to provide a basic checklist. It doesn't originate with me, but kind of just a framework to help. Again, the background behind me I chose on purpose. One, I think it looks cool. I hope you do, but just kind of to visually give us an idea of our world, the pace at which things are happening, the technological changes, the changes in business, finance, all over are coming at us at an increasing pace. And we need some help to keep up, right? We need to know what's going on, being aware of it. So I hope you're going to find this list useful. I also want to make it so that it can apply to anyone, not just someone starting a business, okay? Because that's not what it's designed to do. But this one here, I'll do a quick screen share, I think really is designed to help, and it says it's hard to get your money right when you don't know where to start, right? If we don't know where to start, what do we do, right? If you're lost, you got to kind of first know where you're at, but you got to get your money right, you got to know where to start. There's just a checklist. Again, there's not financial advice, it's financial opinion. So I also want to, with that, do my due diligence and provide, excuse me guys for looking for my screen share here. Financial disclaimer, right? My channel content is for informational purposes only. It's financial opinion, not financial advice. You should not construe any information that I'm providing here or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice, okay? Please consult a licensed financial advisor and do your own research before making any financial decisions. I just say that because I want to be responsible and I don't want to come across as somebody I'm not. So anyway, guys, that is where we're at. So book I'm reading right now by CFP John McGregor. He writes that unfortunately, thanks to the failures of our educational system, few of us are financially literate enough to handle money properly, right? And that includes me, guys. I don't know about you, but I didn't learn anything in, again, elementary school, high school, college, really about managing money. Most of us haven't, right? If you do, you're the exception. So here's some basic guidelines. One is find your money, right? I guess know where you're at. How many credit cards do you have? I hope you don't have a whole pile of them because that's probably not going to be good. How much money do you owe, right? If you got credit cards, you probably got some debt. How much do you owe? And, where's your 401k from your first job? Do you have a 401k? How much are you actually spending every month, right? These are all pretty important things for you and I to know. And we know, here's some statistics just to back that up. We know that 78% of Americans working full-time are living paycheck to paycheck. I shared a similar stat last week, and that represents a 3% increase from just a couple of years ago. The average American household debt, and here it is, and this might shock you, but it shouldn't, is the average American household has almost 17,000 in credit cards. They got almost 30,000 in auto loans, 50,000 in student loans, 182,000 in mortgages. So that totals about 280,000 total average household debt, guys. We've got a major debt problem with our government on the national level, but then just personally, people owe a lot of money, and that really eats into what you're able to afford. Where do you live, and how much money do you live on? Number two, you want to organize your accounts. And again, this is not a deep dive in any of these, but let's just say now you know where your money is, right? You get an idea of what's going on. Life will be a lot easier if you have it all in one place. And this really comes down to know where your financial info is. Hopefully you don't just throw, this in a desk drawer, or this one over here, this one a file somewhere. So you really don't know where it is. We kind of keep all our stuff in one place, but keep things organized. Have some record keeping system, guys. It really helps, especially if you have a business, you might get audited and you need to know where your stuff is. You can use paper, computer files. What works best for you? We use a little bit of both. But by keeping organized, you'll really save time looking for things, and you'll have a lot more time to work on other also important tasks. Okay, guys, so hopefully that helps. Thirdly, is figure out what your goals are, right? If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there, right? It's hard to know where your money should be going if you don't know where you want it to go, right? If you're just kind of living and you have no idea, you're not going to get there, right? You need to have some goals, basically a roadmap of where you're headed. Okay. So do some soul searching if you need to. Answer some questions for yourself. These questions will help to clarify what your financial goals should be. Hey, my financial goals or investment goals are different from yours, but you got to figure out what yours are first. So here's just some quick examples. Okay. Hopefully this will help. What kind of life do you want to live? Have you ever sat down and thought about that yourself or with your spouse or significant other? Where do you want to live? We're looking to make a move now. We're deciding to move to another state. What financial issues are causing you the most stress? You might really want to think about that. I kind of buried my head in the sand quite a bit when I knew we were going into debt. We shouldn't have been, and I felt powerless to stop it, but I kind of really ignored what issues are causing us stress. Would have had a lot easier life if I did that earlier, but guys, just know what issues are causing you stress. And then, do you want to own a home? I guess you got to figure out how much you want to spend. We have a budget for the home that we want to move into in another state. Okay, we could afford more, but we wanted to scale back. So you got to figure those things out. And then maybe what are the top 5 things on your bucket list, stuff that you would love to do, that you dream about doing? That's important to have that. Okay, fourthly is create a budget. Okay, we've got a budget. I admit I'm not a big budgeting guy. I'm not a big numbers guy, but you got to, now that you know where your money is and where you want to go, it's time to kind of basically create a framework to make that happen, right? You got to know, how much comes in every month, right? As well as how much goes out. What's your income, what's your expenses on a monthly basis. And it will specify, and I'll just say based on your needs and priorities, how much you should be spending on what. Right. And budgeting can help establish needs versus want. That's huge, guys. We are bombarded by advertising on all levels that really tries to, I think, confuse those and flip those around to make, wants needs versus they're not. Do you really need that extra car? Do you need the jet ski? Do you need the timeshare condo, those type of things? You got to figure that out. But basically, it also helps keep your bills and receipts organized. You should do that as per number 2 above, being organized, really important. Okay. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But just if you don't have a budget, have a basic one. Know something, what's going on with your money, where it's going. And that 5th is you want to make sure you're saving for retirement. Now, I am guilty of not doing this. I'm not being able to. I think I made a lot of excuses, but I got a really late start on that, right? And it kind of, when you're young, retirement can seem so far away. I get it. It's not worth preparing for, right? Your mind is kind of occupied with the present, the here and now. Oh, that'll happen someday. Guys, you need to start now. But honestly, the earlier you start saving for retirement, the better off you'll be. I can't stress that enough. Both my girls are saving money. My oldest is doing way better than we were at her age. She's in a good position. We've kind of helped guide her and coach her a bit, and I'm proud of her for doing that. But start saving now, guys. Don't wait for someday, or I'll get to it someday, right? Compound interest has been called, I guess the 8th wonder of the world, something like that, but it can be your friend, right? If you allow it enough time to work. So for instance, if your company offers a 401k, especially if they offer a matching amount, take advantage of it. Again, 401k, I don't think there's no guarantees with them. I'll say that, but if they do offer it, that's somewhere to start. Invest at least up to the match amount offered, right? If you don't work with somewhere with a retirement plan, maybe open an IRA and start contributing now, right? The key thing is it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but you need to start somewhere, right? Maybe start at 5% of your monthly net income, then maybe 10%. We were giving 10% the last 12 years of my employment. We needed to do that, but do it as you can fit it into your budget. Number 4, right? So know what you've got and where you can put it. And 6, this is super important. Remember the statistics I shared originally. Start paying down debt, guys. We had some major debt, IRS tax liens, all that. I'll just leave it there, but not fun. You don't want to get there if you can avoid it. But if you have credit card debt, you should start paying that down and pay down the smallest amount most, because then you can get kind of a mental victory. If you got one with 5,000, one with 500, we'll pay off the one with 500 first, because you can feel good about it. You get that off the table. But and this could also mean paying a little bit more than the minimum every month, right, guys? Some of these, we were at the point where if we just paid the minimum, we'd basically never have our credit cards paid off. And that's kind of what the credit card companies are hoping on. You pay the minimum because they keep making a lot of money on interest, but pay more than the minimum if you can, or pay it off every month, even better, right? Slow and steady wins the race here. And you can't do everything, right? It takes time. And hint, big one, stay away from accumulating debt, especially high interest consumer debt, if you at all can, guys. It'll save you a lot of money. A lot of people have so much consumer debt. Again, buying a car is a depreciable asset on time. isn't always the smartest thing. Again, we had to do that, but if you don't have to, you can avoid it because it depreciates, and you're still paying money on it. If you're making more money on your investments, like my oldest daughter, I said, yeah, you could afford to take out a loan, pay some cash down on the car, take out a loan because you're making more in your investment account. But again, financial opinion, not financial advice here, but look at your situation. 7 is build an emergency savings account. We could talk a whole bunch about that. We didn't have one for years and years. Emergency savings is important. Really, the unexpected comes unexpectedly, right? Out of the blue, right? And ideally, this account, according to some people, should have 3 to 12 months of your expenses in it, right? Guys, I'd probably say minimally 3 if you can, so you get a little bit of a cushion. Of course, you can't save that kind of money overnight. So again, you've got to start small and build it gradually, right? No more than half of Americans, 51%, have less than 3 months worth of expenses covered in an emergency fund, according to Bankrate's July 2021 emergency savings survey. Really current statistic here. That debt includes 1 in 4 Americans, 25%, who indicate having no emergency fund at all. And that's up from 21% in 2020, guys, in a little over a year. And this means you could not afford, heard this statistic before, without a struggle, $400 repair, man, something goes out in your car, your refrigerator, something like that. People don't have the money to deal with it. Again, I've been there, I've done that. Just try to have something so you don't get hit or brought down or under because you don't have that extra money. Again, some might require toning down your lifestyle. A lot of times we're guilty. I think a lot of this because we're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Everybody's got 2 cars, they're new, they got a newer home, they're just extending themselves more than they really need to. I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses, okay? 8, get insurance. I can speak to this from background. I've got a background of 18 years in the insurance industry as a licensed P&C and life agent. I won't tell you the company I was with, but I'm no longer life agent, but just some general stuff here. You should have any insurance that is appropriate for your lifestyle. Okay, and my definition of insurance provides protection for potential losses that could occur, that could cripple or even bankrupt you financially if you didn't have it. It covers potential risks, right? Can't afford it. If your house burns down, you should have insurance. If your mortgage company, you got a mortgage on your house, they're going to require it. But there's many types of insurance that you should be thinking about. On home and auto, for starters, right? Again, if you own a home, the mortgage and it's financed, the mortgage company is going to require that you have insurance on. If you live in a floodplain, they're going to require flood insurance too. So that's kind of a no given. Most states, you are supposedly required to have auto insurance, guys. That's a smart thing. If you get in an accident and you don't have it, you could be in some deep financial situations. So auto insurance covers those unexpected eventualities or things that they can come up. That's what I call them accidents, not on purposes. But again, if you have an employer that provides health insurance, that's great. I did, and I didn't, and then I did. And it's a big cost, guys. I'll say it's a huge cost that many take for granted or as a right. And I'm just going to say it's not, right? It's about choices. It's about priorities. Being self-employed as I was for 18 years, we sacrificed to pay $500 a month at the time for basically, we paid about $60,000 in premiums over those 18 years for a major medical plan with $1,000 deductible, guys. But we sacrificed because I had a family. I had 2 young daughters. I need to protect them. People go, how come you don't have a new car? Well, your car payments are what I'm paying for health insurance. Okay. So again, it's about priorities and again, budgeting and getting the right coverage in place to protect you. Okay. So I'm not an advocate. If you think insurance is a right, then please DM me and I will gladly send my insurance premium payments to you and you can pay them for me. Okay, enough said on that. So if you have children, I really absolutely believe you should have life insurance. It should be called death insurance. It's not a sales pitch. It's being responsible. People don't like to face their mortality. Their death, right? I'm 61. I have dealt 3 years past dealing with stage 4 prostate cancer. So it kind of changes your perspective, but people don't like to think about it or pay for it, right? It's like, it's going to happen someday, not today, not tomorrow. I don't need to think about it. But guys, you need to, both my wife and I have life insurance on us still, right? The biggest thing about, not in every situation, but depending on your state size and that, most times the death benefit of a life insurance policy is tax-free. So when you're no longer there, that money comes in, you don't have to pay taxes on it, okay? Enough said on that. So do you rent your home? Definitely recommend renter's insurance. It's very affordable and it can save your butt if anything bad happens to your home or apartment, like a fire or a theft, guys, right? Liability coverage can protect you if you do something in the apartment. It really kind of covers your liability insurance with it. It can be a big saver. Ninth is, so now we can start thinking about investment, right? Retirement planning is an investment, but you can invest in the stock market separately on your own. Again, there's risk involved. You got to be aware. There's several new apps out there like Robinhood, which I do use. I've got one stock on there. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but that can make investing easier for those who don't have a ton of money to spare. Now, I'm going to qualify this advice because this is kind of little boy. You can do it on DIY, right? DIY. But if you do, educate yourself, guys. Educate yourself, understand what you're doing, and do your homework, right? Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. And be careful of day trading. I know that was kind of a big buzzword. Maybe it still is. Some day traders do make money, right? But the odds are definitely not in your favor, right? There's a research report published by some university professors that determined that in any given year, only about 13% of day traders achieved a profit. Okay, that should be a clue. Even worse, the study found that less than 1% of the day traders consistently make money. Okay, so be aware. We use a certified financial planner, CFP, to handle our financial planning and investments. So again, remember, seeking professional advice can help you and save you time, frustration, and money to get professional advice, experienced professional advice. Yes, CFPs, called fiduciary, means they work for us. They're not there just to sell something to make a commission. You got to get a distinction there. I recommend if you work with somebody, they're a fiduciary, means they're looking out for your interest. They're worth the investment, in my opinion, a fact that I can attest to, because yes, we use one, but not just anyone. The person we work with has over 30 years experience. We interviewed 3 before ultimately deciding on one. We then had several meetings with him and his staff before we wrote a check. And again, do your due diligence. There's something called FINRA. I checked him on FINRA, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. It gives me background on me. He's had no actions on him. He's in this full-time. Some people are in it not full-time. You need to be aware of that. But it oversees and regulates the actions of its members. So you want to do your due diligence. And it's about relationships. The right certified financial planner literally has to be the right person. Ours is, and we are blessed by the relationship. One last note, I also regularly follow and subscribe to successful people on YouTube. As I mentioned last week, I think next week, my video, I'm going to share with you some of the people I follow financially and in the crypto markets, just to give you an idea who I'm listening to, tell you a little bit about why. But I think it's important this way, for free. If you got internet access, you can keep up with what's happening in the economy, on Wall Street, and in the crypto DeFi space, which please pay attention to that if you're not, right? So to sum up, a checklist can help in making sure you've covered all your bases, and it's important to both your short and long-term financial health, right? Keeping track of your progress with an annual financial checklist makes it easier to see which tasks have been completed and which you still need to tackle, guys. That's what I've got for you today. Guys, I appreciate you watching, and please reach out with any questions or comments that you have. I mean that. I would love to let me know what you're doing to help yourself to create financial success. What are you doing financially that's helping you and your family out? So I wish you intentional financial success in your endeavors. Have an awesome Monday, guys. Bye-bye.